Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Roxanne Grinage. Today is January 25th, 2013. I'm Roxanne Grinage. I'm the Legal Assistant, Marketing Careers Project Manager, owner of a Pennsylvania registered and U.S. Department of Treasury registered sole proprietorships, HireLyrics Administrative Services since 2000, and U.S. what we call an administrative solutions tool for U.S. economy, education, judicial accountability, prison and public safety reform, an administrative solutions tool which applies the standard access features of the HireLyrics Administrative Services Internet company demonstrated since 2000 standard access to legal assistant, marketing, careers, project manager services, HireLyrics Administrative Services. This is a copy of our schematics being reported out. Our practice models work. We reported them first to Pennsylvania Department of Revenue, Wharton Small Business Administration, Wharton Business School. We've received several awards and acknowledgments for it being an invention of business method, although for us it's just an obvious evolution of the industry for administrative services. In this case, we recognize after 13 years that it is possible to push forward the paralegal profession as a data management reliable reference resource tool, not to replace qualified counsel, not to replace qualified experts, but to provide another source of many for reliable reference data gathered and verified and pieced together, packaged together as evidence modules, if you will, so that the professorial community, academia, education, allowed by the internet technologies. The internet technologies enabled us to have standard access, regardless of who you know or what you have, to the front desk legal secretary assessment of your claims, where the claimant now, who is always a contributor of U.S. economy enriching work product contribution, either through being a business owner, an entrepreneur, a student with promise and potential to feed their contribution into engineering, bioengineering, medicine, healthcare, science, space travel, information technology, and of course the internet, can now access not only the documentation, copyright, and rights of ownership protection services that would be afforded by a holistic careers assessment. Now we can also refer appropriately, simultaneously, into many industries as we have assessed the contributor has contribution to be protected, to be documented. That's not only claims, litigation claims, but the actual performance, the lyrics, the crafts, the whatever they're producing, clothing, manufacturing, and thought, raised consciousness, and community development is in fact campaigning, grassroots campaigning, education by conversation are in fact economy impacting. They can enrich or they can detract from our economy as they are fed into the consumer markets, into the industry buyers who would see them into a fair marketplace entry. Now they can be jettisoned in through marketing. So where the person approaches to be for whatever particular need that they say they have, like they might have a claim against someone, a piracy claim, they may have a workers' compensation claim, they may have a social security disability claim, they may have an intellectual property claim, copyright claim. When they approach the now sponsorship-free dollars, we're not hindered by or encumbered by the agendas of sponsors. We say standard access. So it's dollar free, regardless of who you know or what you have. It doesn't matter what names you drop. It doesn't matter who your parents were. It doesn't matter who you knew. We are going to assess the facts, merits, and the verifiability of your claims. And we're not going to wait for you to mention your attributes. We're not going to wait for you to notice that you are a spherical person, the product sum of many years of choices, experiences, environment, and events that shaped you to be the spherical contributor into more than one industry, right? You have a career contribution to make. So in this video, as you know, I'm wholly committed to interviewing, to winning interview opportunities that would allow me to win a permanent full-time position with a conscientious unity of purpose law firm, whistleblower law firm, any type of law firm, except criminal. I'm really not experienced in criminal as much as I am complex litigation, intellectual property, commercial litigation, financial, public finance, employment law, human resources, okay, so investment banking, mergers and acquisitions. So I'm looking for a home. I'm looking to transition from a demonstration of a self-employment interest that was based on 26 years of professional experience working for these attorneys, well qualified, who helped me very much, by the way, in giving me advice and teaching me the importance of developing the vernacular and the language for speaking, overview and rationale, and practice models and schematics. So let's go to HireLyrics practice model, because this video, the purpose of this video is to try to convince those that would not only hire me, but those who are looking for a paralegal or an executive assistant, a legal assistant. Now the right fit paralegal in many circumstances, particularly law firms, investment banking firms, there's no getting around it anymore. Marketing is a necessary expertise. Of course, guarding confidentiality is important. Of course, adhering to privacy laws. Of course, being compliant with the courts and the forms if you're working pro se or attorney representative. Of course, you need someone qualified who knows the federal rules of procedure, the local rules of procedure. But if you look at the federal rules of evidence, 702, 703, 26A, it's possible now, and it's happening more and more. We discovered this in entering our pro se documents and producing our documents. HireLyrics Administrative Services researched and produced court compliant, meaning we use the official court forms that we found at the electronically internet enabled court websites to produce compliant documents to give the pro se litigant a voice to the court. Is not to what I demonstrate in my practice model. Let me show you this. The litigation referral mechanism. I demonstrated for 13 years all creators of original creative work product contribution have litigation referral opportunity. If you can provide standard access through a portal style experience, literally set up a gatekeeper, set up a place of entry, the same way in your corporate offices, someone comes up the elevator, walks to the door, and the first thing that they come up to is the receptionist desk. The receptionist knows who to refer that person to, whose assistant would have the proper forms for this person to fill out to assess what their need is from this law office. So In the beginning, HireLyrics was set up just to protect rights of ownership for the lyricists that were being ripped off. The internet technologies, there was a scramble going on. Nobody knew how to regulate or control them. We're still trying to figure out how to regulate and control them. But we knew enough to know whoever had control of the ability to pirate, the same technologies that were enabling the piracy, someone's download of music across the world, someone's label being going out of business and their work being cannibalized by another label without fair recognition, fair compensation. We knew that we needed to master that ability to catch the piracy for the sake of leveraging individual accountability. And that's how we ended up getting involved after 2009 into the official corruption, fraud, and civil rights, the kidnap for profit, as an industry-driven phenomenon and impacting our economy here. I was victimized in Philadelphia family court. My 2 grandchildren, custody was so illegally malpracticed due to the intrinsic fraud and the just criminal actions of a Philadelphia senior judge, Robert J. Matthews, that caused me to get involved in trying to notify the court first and then law enforcement of all the laws and statutes that were being broken, while my grandchildren continue to be all but, they don't even know who they are now. They're just completely destroyed. All right. I'm going to do another video of that. We're going to trial on that on February 5th. And the people who took my grandchildren were by public mob assault, and they're able to get away with it because of knowing people in the district attorney's office. But that's not what this is about right now. This is about the demonstration. Whenever, if you say you have a personality independent mechanism, remove personality. Gather the facts, gather the evidence, verify everything, and report it to the person who can do something about it. In a law office, it's the secretary or the legal assistant or the paralegal verifying it and giving it, handing the file over, developed over to, and the memos to the file and the reports, the extrapolation of the evidence, the trial prep binder, the photographs, the depositions, the notices of depositions, the transcripts of the depositions. In a law office, it's handing it over to qualified counsel who makes the decision about what the contingent liabilities are, whether or not to go to trial, whether or not to settle. So HireLyrics says, I'm saying, Roxanne Grinage is saying, that the paralegal industry as a profession, as the paralegal position as a profession, has been pushed further than ever. Able now to enter declarations, expert witness testimony, talk about, enter declarations in the courts, talk about what you see in the file, who filed what are the interior folder, what are the subjects, talk about what you don't see in the file, who didn't make an appearance, who missed a filing deadline. You know, as long as you talk about what is very court stamped, it is a matter of public record. And I will have a separate page for how I used internet radio, being a talk show radio host on Blog Talk Radio. HireLyrics is born to serve, to market case studies, to market the evidence, not discuss opinion, but to market what we did verify, and to bring in community education by conversation, to give exposure to those community heroes, those new civil rights heroes that are working in the community to further the community. Everyone is not corrupt. Sometimes it's a matter, what we learned is, instead of immediately saying, you know, taking on a paranoia attitude like, oh my God, they're all out to get me, they're against me, look and see, develop the tools necessary. And the U.S. Citizens Control Public Docket Database is one of those tools, administrative solution tool, that measures individual accountability. Take the data as it's presented by the claimants, verify it, plug it in. Plug in a police report, plug in a claim, plug in a witness testimony, plug in a neighbor, plug in the grandmother's notes in the book where she, in the holy book, in the Holy Bible or the Korans, where she died of a broken heart. Plug in the notes in the Torah, plug in everything about the family's heritage, plug in the history. Okay? There's a movie out right now that is really by Quentin Tarantino, Django, with Jamie Foxx and Leonardo DiCaprio, Don Johnson. Some really amazing actors are in there. Samuel L. Jackson, that tells the truth about what happened in history and why it is so important, as abhorrent as it is, as offensive as it is. The language and the deeds of the past need to be remembered. Those who fail to remember are doomed to repeat. So a standard access mechanism providing standard services regardless of who you know or what you have, but responsible services providing only what you're qualified and experienced to do and credentialed to do can make this world a better place. I want to close with the mission and purpose statement of my practice model. Build this. HireLyrics. Marketing, careers, label, and stores. HireLyrics is a standard access mechanism practicing marketing, careers, label, and stores services that cause fair entry into competitive processes that achieve fair recognition, fair compensation, and raise quality of life for the previously unseen and unaccommodated worldwide population of disadvantaged creators, and the families, communities, technologies, industries, regions, and generations impacted by our contributions of resourceful life experience and original creative work product contributions. The answer to missed educational opportunities, oppressive contracts, and unaccountability horror stories, racism, poverty, and hate-based ideas festering into terrorism, is the responsible development of entities that standardize access, standardize procedures, and standardize services. Respectfully, Roxanne Grinage. My number to contact me for interviews is 267-444-0 opportunities. I also have I'm developing a professional career portfolio with the examples of my work, the document production, the custom design, the radio show descriptions and content, my various guests that were on there, for those that are interested in that as well, prospective employers that are interested in that as well. I am looking to transition from self-employment consultant status to an employee with a home, with a class action, community influencing, across the board firm, community conscious firm. I am well qualified and desirous and enthusiastic about helping conscientious candidates, elected officials, make this world a better place, working on your campaign. By the way, here in Philadelphia, we are into the primary election for the judicial nominees, the judicial candidates for the Philadelphia Court of Common Pleas, and every election is hope. Every election brings hope. And those same claimants, when you assess the claims that are similarly situated, the voter interests and issues are also similar. They may be unique, but the constituency, as a voter constituency, is tragically far too large for the victims of official corruption, fraud, and civil rights in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, and all cities of our country. There is absolute genocide going on in Alaska, Anchorage, Kodiak, Wasilla, Gamble, of the Native American people, and here in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, the working class, student, and impoverished population are being fed like fodder into the billable agendas people-eating machine of Philadelphia Family Court through deliberate, systemized legal malpractice of domestic relations matters. So I guess if I had to disclose a conflict of interest, I probably couldn't work for a family law practicing attorney here in Philadelphia. But I can certainly work for unity of purpose law firms. I can travel, commute to Wilmington, Delaware, Washington, D.C., New York. I'm from New York. I can certainly commute there, and I can relocate to California. Okay, God bless everyone. Take care.